You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.
Monday night down at Bondi, everyone saw the scenes. 23 years of age, he travelled 3,952 kilometres, ran from Perth to Bondi. He raised $1.5 million on Monday night. It's now up to $1.8 million to help those who are experiencing homelessness all across Australia. It is the magnificent Ned Brock.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
How does it feel now that you've stopped, mate? I mean, that moment you crossed the finish line at Bondi there, it would have been unbelievable. But now that it's actually sunk in and you've seen how everyone's reacted, how are you holding up?
Yeah, I don't actually think it's sunk in yet, but I'm doing good. I've got a lot of reflecting to do and a lot of thinking about what actually has just gone down. But yeah, to have gone through what I went through along the Nullarbor and along the Hay Plains and to finally come into Bondi was very surreal. So I'm bloody grateful to be home.
One question I want to ask, Ned. You had injuries and things happened to your body over the way. What I want to know, could what you did and this feat that you've done, could that do long-term damage to your body?
Yeah, it could. I've done similar things before where I actually have had an injury that lasts a long time, but I didn't have any injuries along this that have done long-lasting injuries, so to speak. But who knows? But there's always a surgeon there to do knee or hip replacements. So we'll see how we go in the later years.
You know what I love about this too? We spoke to you maybe a couple of months ago before you'd actually started saying, fire up, guys. This is going to be unbelievable. So we were like, oh, yeah, well, good luck, mate. Good luck. Yeah, and then to see the story continue to build. But now what I'm learning and what I'm seeing and what I want you to tell people about is everyone's just seen this moment. But can you talk about what went into the lead up to this and the year beforehand?
Yeah. Obviously. So 2 years ago, I thought of the idea and came up with it, and probably the start of this year we actually put pen to paper and started making a plan. But in terms of physically and what I had to go through, it was like every morning 4 a.m. without fail, wake up. First thing I saw in the morning was swear words and telling myself to get the hell after it for 2 hours in the morning before I went to work, and then straight after work get home. And the last thing I saw before I went to bed was that sort of stuff on my roof. And It was just a mental game. And obviously I had 3 MRIs for a shin worry prior, and I was adamant I was going to do the run, but I didn't have the load in my legs that I probably should have. So I went from basically running 40K a week to 700K a week straight away. Probably not the way to line up. But when you've got a mind that won't quit, you'll find a way. And, that's what ended up happening.
Tell us some of the things that did happen on the way. We were told that you couldn't straighten your arms because that you were in a running position the whole time. There was another one. I don't know if this is true. Maggots. Was there maggots in your shoes?
Yeah, no, in my toe, not in my shoes, in my toe. Yeah, it was unfortunately a fly. Obviously, Australia's quite remote and and at some point, one flew into my toe because I'm quite delirious. I don't really remember, and just nested in there. And obviously, 5 days later, the maggots started crawling around.
Ned!
I didn't realise that it was maggots. I thought it was just an ingrown toe, so I'm trying to pull it away. And about 50K into day 16, I felt this thing in my toe, and I was going, "What's going on?" And I looked down, and there was about 5 maggots just feasting.
So what did you do? Do you just cut that off, or did you just keep running?
I questioned all my life choices up to that point, and I just sprayed it with alcohol, and they obviously didn't like that, and got a earbud in there and scraped them out.
Ned, can you take us to the closest you came to pulling the pin? What was the moment?
I've never said I'm going to do something and not gone through with it.
Then what was the toughest point?
So there was a few. Like day 3 was pretty confronting because I only just got out of Perth, and we had about 50k an hour headwinds added with like belting rain in my face all day, and my feet were just when you've been in a bath for too long. And it was really, really confronting. But to get through that, and then I got to day 12 and had the most severe tendinitis in my shin, where they treat that as basically a stress fracture, but for a muscle. And you're meant to immobilise it for 6 weeks in a boot.
Yep.
But we spoke to a sports doctor. We drove 14 hours to Whyalla, which was the nearest MRI. And we put 2 cortisone injections in it, drove 14 hours back, got back at 3 a.m. And then at 5 a.m. I started the next day and ran 700K that week. So, yeah, if you have a will, there's a way. And, it's I got a dictus band and taped it around, a rubber band basically that lifts my foot up off the floor because I had no function of lifting my foot up off the floor. But yeah, we got through it, and then eventually I must have ran on enough to fix it, and it healed. So
that's
crazy.
Just
Ned,
pushing through it.
Incredible thing, and when you don't quit, it'll just find a way.
Ned, can I another thing as well, because my 2 boys are 13 and 9, and we followed your journey when you were running as well. Can I just say, especially for young men these days, and for anyone, but to open up about your emotions. We were following you on social media, and mate, you didn't shy away when the camera was in front of you. You wanted to show everyone that you were hurting, you were crying, your emotion. Was that one thing that you wanted to show to everyone to be proud about and to get out there and talk about these things?
Absolutely. Like, there was that, obviously the homelessness thing, and then the inspiration, but actually just being vulnerable and being raw and real, and people the rawness people really resonated with, and like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because I was screaming at the top of my lungs for 3 hours a day because I was in so much pain.
Oh my God.
It's just showing people that you can be vulnerable, but don't shy away from it. Just sack it up and do what you got to do. But like, there was like some days I had great days, I didn't scream at all, but they were very few and far between, where it's just a matter of getting up each day. And I hope a lot of people took a lot of inspiration from that.
I love the slogan and what's been repeated on social media too, of you saying, become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely powerful, mate. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I live by that. Like, we're in a society where it's much easier to take the easy way out, and be happy with whatever, and instant gratification, like busting your ass to get to work for something and then finally achieving it. There's just no better feeling. So yeah, it's exciting to be able to, show, I guess, motivate people and get them up and about in their, day-to-day lives. And it was very exciting to be able to do that.
We know how humble you are, and you probably don't like talking about this, but there are now calls, and everyone, there is a petition that we'd love for you to go to. Go to change.org to find this. There's calls to make Ned, or nominate him for Australian of the Year, because 2023's already closed.
Yep.
All right, so nominations have closed, but we want to do it now. While Ned has made all this money and changed a lot of people's lives, please go to the petition at change.org and look for Ned's record run, and you can sign it there. But mate, you need to be nominated for this. I mean, it's
just awesome.
It's unbelievable, Ned. When, like Whipper said, when we first got you on, we thought, this is just impossible.
Yeah.
What he's doing, this
Good
guy.
luck, mate. Do you know what, though, Ned? Fitzy and I can relate a little bit. We had a pub tour last year where we had to try and visit as many pubs as we could in a 24-hour period. Now, we hit a moment where we thought we can't drink any more beer. And we were broken. It was raw. We were hurting. We moved on. We found a vodka Red Bull, and we pushed through that moment, mate. And we ended up...
That's great, that's really up.
Yeah, and we got through it, mate. We ended up doing 36 pubs. We were so proud.
Awesome.
Yeah, good on you. I'm proud of you both.
Well done. We love you, Ned. And don't forget, you can still donate to Mobilise. You can go to nedsrecordrun.com. You can still donate there. 1.8 million. You're an absolute hero. You're an inspiration. We appreciate your time, Neddy.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it so much.
Well done, buddy.
Love you, brother.
See you
Well
soon.
done.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.